Oh, oh, oh. Well, well. Here's Beth. I left her a message today. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Ma Tov 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 Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
We are on page 129.
Hine Ma Tov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Ma Tov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Ma Tov Umanayim Shevet Achim
Gam Yachad Hine Ma Tov Umanayim
Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. What a nice thing is to welcome Shabbat in community. This Shabbat is a very special Shabbat. We commence the reading of one of the 5 books of the Torah. We are starting the book of we're one away from Deuteronomy. We're almost there. We are starting the book of Numbers. And the book of Numbers, well, you know what? Actually, to be honest, sometimes for some reason, Numbers and Deuteronomy, they switch in my mind as well. So the book of Numbers, which is this unusual book in the Torah, starts with a census, and to some extent, there's a direct prohibition to count the people of Israel. You are not supposed to count the people of Israel. As a matter of fact, Jewish law says it's forbidden to count Jews, even though we do count Jews for a minyan, and Jews are constantly counted in the Torah. So it's an interesting prohibition. And there's this beautiful teaching that says that Jews are counted and forbidden to be counted in order to demonstrate, to emphasize that we are part of a group, and when we come together, we can make a difference. And on the other hand, that each of us makes a difference, and that each of us is dear to God and to our communities and to our people. So with this tension between being a part of the group and counting because we are together, and at the same time counting because of who we are individually, we will commence. We started actually last Saturday, but tomorrow we will read Parashat Bamidbar, in the wilderness. And about the word midbar, wilderness, we'll talk later. We'd like to welcome Shabbat with the words of Bo'i Kala. Bo'i Kala. Can you say Bo'i Kala?
Bo'i Kala.
And we'll say Penei Shabbat.
Penei Shabbat.
Nekavela.
Nekabela.
We say, welcome bride, come bride. We will welcome the face of Shabbat. And then we'll sing Lechadodi, and we'll sing Lechadodi, a longer Lechadodi later. But we welcome the Shabbos bride into this space. Bo'i Kala,
Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala.
Lechadodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Lechadodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala,
Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala.
Lechadodi, Likrat Kala,
Penei Shabbat
Nekavela. Lechadodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala,
Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Penei Shabbat Nekavela. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala. It's my pleasure to invite up Robin Stone to come and light the Shabbat candles. You can find the blessing on page 120.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו,
ציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Thank you very
Shalom.
much. We'll now turn our Sidurim to page 130 as we welcome Shabbat in our feet. We walk the walk to welcome Shabbat. Lechu neranena.
Ranena l'Adonai nariya litzur yishenu nekadma fanam betoda bizmirot nariya lo nekadma fanam betoda bizmirot nariya lo.
Page 131. Shiru l'Adonai.
Shiru l'Adonai,
Shir Hadash.
Shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, baruchu shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato Sapru bagoyim Kevodo Bechol ha'amim Nifleotav Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai lai Yalalai lai 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 Yalalai lai lai lai. I haven't opened my siddur yet. On page, when our sages, when rabbis, many years ago, 6 centuries ago, tried to think about this service of Kabbalat Shabbat, this didn't exist. And the way in which they thought about it, once I find the page, can you help me with this? How do you? Here.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Canto. The way has happened to me before, to be lost in a book and not to find my way throughout, happens. Thank you, Canto. And that and many other reasons. But, so the rabbis thought about how to create something that was significant. And the way in which Kabbalat Shabbat was fixed and created was to put a psalm in front of every single one of the days of the week. So sometimes when we screen these psalms, even very shortly, what we're inviting everybody to do is to take a moment and think about each of the days of your week. When we enter Shabbat, we are deciding that we are leaving behind the week that we experience and trying to enter a day that is different, that invites us to create a different space in our lives, a space for rest. The creation of the world didn't happen in 6 days. It actually happened in 7 days. But on the 7th day, God rested. And so what we hope to do in Shabbat is to be able to say that what we have done so far should be enough, and that we can separate from that and enter a different space. And so every single one of the poems, the psalms we sing is an invitation to start entering that different space that we cannot abruptly access. I invite you to turn your Siddurim now to page 134 for Psalm 95. Samru
Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai.
Yiram hayamum lo Tevel v'yoshvei v'ayrai ne'arot imcha ucha av yachad harim yeraneinu lifnei Adonai kriva lishbot haaretz ישפוט תבל וצדק ועמים ומישרים ים ימום לו תבל ויושבי ועירי נהרות עמך וכך אף יחד ערים לפנינו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. We will now turn our Sidurim to page 136 for Psalm 29, מזמור לדוד. מזמור לדוד, אבו לאדוני בני אלים. מזמור לדוד, אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו. אבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז. אבו לאדוני כבוד שמו. איי 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 אדוניוס לבוא ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אדוניוס לבוא ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. איי 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 אדוניוס לבוא ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אדוניוס לבוא ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. And with this spirit, we turn our Sidurim to page 138. As we say, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, we welcome the Shabbos bride. Yarararai, Lecha Dodi.
Yalalalai, Likrat Kala. Yalalalai, Penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela.
Yalalalai, Lecha Dodi. Yalalalai, Likrat Kala. Yalalalai, Penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamo v'zachor b'dibur echad. Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad.
אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולצלם. יאי לי לי יאללה לה לה לך דודי, יאללה לה לה לקראת כלה, יאללה לה לה פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלם.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלחם, כי מקור הברכה
מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. יאי לי לי, יאללה לה לה לי לך דודי, יאללה לה לה לי לקראת כלה, יאללה לה לה פני שבת, פני שבת, נקווה לה די ידה לי די די ידה לי לי ידה לי ידה לי ידה לי
פני שבת
נקווה לה לך דודי לקראת כלה ידה לי ידה לי ידה לי פני שבת נקווה לה די די
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בהורך קומי אורי, 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 שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה די, יאללה די, יאללה די, פני שבת נקווה לה, די, לך דודי לקראת כלה, יאללה די, יאללה די, יאללה די, פני שבת נקווה
היי די די לא תבושי ולא תקלמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי לך יחסו אני ימי ונבנתה עיר אל תילה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה לי יאללה לי יאללה לי פני שבת נקווה לה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה לי יאללה לי יאללה לי
פני שבת נקווה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה לי יאללה לי יאללה לי פני שבת
נקווה לה לך דודי לקראת כלה יאללה לי יאללה לי יאללה לי פני שבת נקווה לה. And while you are standing, or most of us are physically standing, I invite you to make sure that as we have welcome Shabbat, we welcome each other. And before we do that, if this is your first time at Shir Hadash, say me and share your name with us. Do you have anyone who is your first time at Shir Hadash? No. Okay, well that's great. You everybody come. But it also means that you need to bring your friends and make sure that if you recognize a face that you don't recognize, go all the way through and say Shabbat Shalom. Make sure that you say Shabbat Shalom to at least 7 people. Oy kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Oy kala, oy kala, oy kala. Oy kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Oy kala, oy kala, oy kala. Lecha dodi לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. לך דודי לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. והיא כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. והיא כלה והיא כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. והיא כלה לך דודי לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. לך דודי לקראת כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. והיא כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. והיא כלה ב'nei Shabbat nekavela. היא קלה, היא קלה, היא קלה. לך דודי, לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקרלה. We will now turn our sidorim to page 140. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, טוב להודות לאדוני. And on page 140, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולהגיד בבוקר חסדך,
להגיד בבוקר
חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. Come back with us. ולשמח בבוקר חסדך, אוי להגיד בבוקר חסדך, באמונתך בלילות, באמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. page 144, חצי קדיש.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יש מרב המבורך לעולם ולעולם ועלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירם רעמה ויאמרו Amen.
We invite you to please rise as we turn our Sidurim to page 146 for Barhu. Jerusalem style.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך
המבורך, המבורך, לעולם ועד. המבורך, המבורך, לעולם ועד. You may be seated. Let's read together in English on page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. Adonai, distinguishing one from the other. Adonai, Tzevaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, המעריב ערבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים אותנו למטה. Everlasting love you offer your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. As we get closer to the Shema, the tradition invites us to think about the source of an everlasting love, and invites us to take it personally, to think that that love, the universe, loves us personally. So before reciting the Shema, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and to take it personally, to think about what represents a source of everlasting love for you in this world. For some, it might be a place in nature or a landscape. For others, might be the loving eyes, the loving smile of a beloved person. It might be the smell of something that transports us to a different place, to a different time. It might be a memory. As we recognize that image, we let that image become a light that surrounds us as a prayer shawl. And we try to bring that light, that love into our hearts as we breathe. We bring in that light and we exhale things that we recognize do not belong to us. We let go of things that we might be carrying that not necessarily belong to us. We let that light take over our system and fill us, fill you with love. And once we recognize that in our hearts, is that we can say, "Be'avatcha al tasir mimenu leolamim." Dear God, please never remove your love from us. And we say, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Israel. We're on page 152 for the Shema.
Shema
Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אמת, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת באמון הכל, סוד וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל. Amo. We continue with the silent reading over page 156. Or alternatively, you can choose one of the readings on page 157. When your children witness your presence, they praise your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moshe, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices with joy. Who is like you, O God? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. We're on page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים, צלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Israel. Page 160. Ashkiveinu, the blessing for inner peace.
Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amideinu shomreinu lechaim. Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amideinu shomreinu lechaim. Uvohenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amideinu shomreinu lechaim. Ashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, ve'amideinu לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם.
ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over the city of Shalom, the holy city of ירושלים. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. It is a covenant to keep Shabbat as a part of our lives, and as I like to say every single Shabbat, and to let Shabbat to keep us alive. It is it's a beautiful idea that we read in these verses of the Shamru, these verses that appear in the book of Exodus, that Shabbat by Nafash, on the seventh day, Shabbat by Nafash, that verb doesn't exist actually. It's not a real verb. Like, by Nafash is that Shabbat took a nefesh, a soul. Shabbat, we say that Shabbat has its own soul, like a parallel existence. And maybe the beauty of Shabbat is not only the invitation to celebrate Shabbat and to create a Shabbat experience in our lives, but rather to recognize its existence. There's a beautiful discussion in the Talmud around what holiday, what sukkah, what shelter is more important, the one of Shabbat or the one of Sukkot. And the rabbis conclude the one of Shabbat, because you can choose if you want to enter the sukkah. Shabbat is there. The only thing you need to do is to recognize the fact that it's actually there and it's protecting us with its shelter. I invite you to turn your Sidurim to page 164 for Tfilat Amidah. I invite you to rise and to turn toward Jerusalem as we will sing the opening verse of Tfilat Amidah. We will continue with silent prayer, and we'll try to find within the millennia all words of our tradition and within our hearts that tefillah, that prayer, the tefillah shebalev, the prayer of our heart. Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufi yagit teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips,
that my mouth may declare your praise.
ברוך אתה אדוני מגנבם בעזרת צרה. תגיבו לעולם אדוני מכם מדינת הרב להושיע. מחיה אמיתי. אתה קדוש בשבילך קדוש ברוך אתה אדוני אל הקדוש. לא תקדש יום השביעי למה שכמה תחליט נושא משמעי. קדש השבה. רצון האלוה. אני מחזיר שנתו לציחו. ואם אנחנו שדרנו אלינו ולאבתנו במותנו לעם בעת, צור יחיינו מגן שנו ותעלו ובדור. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי בהגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Say shalom b'imromav. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us, for all Israel, and all who inhabit the earth. And let us say, we add to Tfilat Amidah one more prayer. We ask for the recovery, for the well-being of those that are dealing with illness. We think of those dealing with illness in their bodies. We think of those dealing with illness in their souls. We think of those carrying grief. And we think of those dealing with addictions. If there is a name that you like to share in this Erev Shabbat, please do so as our eyes go around the room.
Bruce Roberts, Alfreda Massman, Diane Siegel, Jill Becker, Gail Frankel, Scott Van Gundy, Daphna Talmor, Mira Engel, Dave Stahl, Greg Herb, Murray Siegel, Marvin Lombard, Lori Shaken, Sue Leiter, Carol Zabridger, Bobby Miller, Laura Sternberg, Margaret McGuan, Richard Ravitch, Bernice Paris, Franklin Wolfson, Helen Curlin. The Mishaberach is on page 371. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Wish to all of you, to all of them, to all of us, refuah shlema, a complete recovery, and achlama meira. We wish to all of you, to all of us, well-being. And let us say,
Amen.
I've been trying to lift this up. I'm going to take yours, Cantor, I think. Thank you. You see, Diana, another. She's also very generous. Thank you. Thank you. It's a good point, Art. It only happened to me once. And it was okay. It got a bit longer, but, but it was okay. One of the first ideas I learned when I was studying first aid is that many years ago in Argentina, I took the 6-month course of the Red Cross. And many years ago. So one of the first ideas I learned there
was that when you need an ambulance, you never say, someone call an ambulance. Instead, you raise your head, make eye contact with someone and say, you call an ambulance. When requests are expressed in a general way, generally, nobody answers. Symbolically, in opposition to this idea, the Torah was given to us in a place that is categorically generic. This week, we began the reading of the book of Numbers, or in Hebrew, Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness, in the desert. God spoke to Moses in the desert of Sinai. The Torah says, in the desert, Bamidbar of Sinai, on the first of the months of Yar, 1 year and 2 weeks after the Exodus from Egypt, God spoke to Moses and commanded him to lead a census. The Midrash, the exegetic literature, the Mechilta, the Rashbi, says that the Torah was given to the people of Israel in the ownerless desert. For if it was given in the land of Israel, the residents of the land of Israel would have said, it is ours. And if it was given in some other place, the residents of that other place would have said, it is ours. Therefore, it was given in the wilderness, so that anyone who wishes to acquire it may acquire it. The Midrash tells that the idea of delivering the Torah in the desert is so that each one of us can say, it is mine. The desert symbolizes Shetach Efker, which is a concept we know from Halacha, from Jewish law, and it means no man's land, whereby anyone can claim ownership of a valuable object that was found in that place. The idea of appropriation is close to inherent to the human condition. According to Piaget and his theory of cognitive development, babies start to understand ownership, or the idea that things still exist even if they can't see them, at a very early age. This happens when they are around 8 to 12 months. And it means that they begin to realize that objects have their own existence. This understanding is foundational for the later development of possessiveness and the concept of ownership. And so, the tradition teaches that Torah was given to us in the wilderness, in nobody's land, for the sake of allowing everybody to say, once again, you can say it, it's mine. However, this idea can also be a total failure. As we said earlier, in the context of first aid, people tend not to respond, or in this case, own general requests. We often recognize things that are important to us, causes that move and even break our hearts. And nonetheless, we sometimes interact with those things as if they have occurred in a different world, in a world that doesn't belong to us. We often hurt for relationships that matter a lot to us and that may not have the form, the shape we would like for them to have. However, we look at them as if they were someone else's property. Shetach Efker, nobody's land. It turns out that the idea of Efker, the idea of not having an owner, can lead to appropriation, but also to detachment. This week, Parsha teaches us that exactly in that hostile place in which we feel detachment and disconnection. In the Torah we call it wilderness. In life we call it life. The chaos of our daily lives, our routines, in that wilderness in which we feel the attachment and disconnection, in that place in which we feel overwhelmed and frightened, exactly there is where the Midrash tells us that we must be in that place, in that chaotic place. We must be in order to receive Torah. At that moment in which we recognize ourselves in the desert and at the same time recognize the value of what we have in front of our eyes. At that moment, if we manage to overcome our perhaps broken hope and say this relationship, this country, this Torah, this challenge is mine, at that moment, that hostile territory will become a fertile one. And the story of our lives will never become Shetach Efker, nobody's land. In that moment in which we recognize that space, if we have the ability to say, it's mine. Shabbat Shalom. We'll continue our service on page 587. And if you're under the age, we'll have nobody under the age of 13 years. They left. It was too much of a sermon. So, thinking of our children, we're going to open the doors of the ark, and maybe they close them. Oh, we're going to do the Sfirat HaOmer in the meantime. Ineni muchanum zoman.
Page 570.
zoman. Ineni muchanum zoman. לקיים את מצוות עשה. הנני מוכן ומזומן. הנני מוכן ומזומן. הנני מוכן ומזומן. לקיים את מצוות עשה. הנני מוכן ומזומן. לקיים את מצוות עשה של תפילת העומר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו מצוותיו וציוונו על תפילת העומר. Let's say together our praise to you Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer.
היום 44 יום שהם 6 שבועות ושני ימים לעומר. Today is the 44th day, which is 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer.
Now, yes, we will invite our children to open the ark for Aleinu. If you are under the age of 13, we invite all of you to open the ark. Gently, to open the ark, please rise as we do so.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לאחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים שבים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ היום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Gently. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom mevorach. Shabbat shalom mevorach. Shabbat shalom mevorach. Thank you, friends. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. You may be seated. At this point of our service, we take a moment to acknowledge mourners in our community. If you are during the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. If you are during the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, please rise and share with us who you are remembering. You can rise in your spirit.
Dr. Grace Deutsch, my mother.
May her memory be a blessing. If you are during the cycle of the first year of mourning, please rise and share with us who you're remembering. Your beloved friend. If you have in your side this week the anniversary of someone's passing by this time of the year in years past, please rise and share with us who you remember. Scott? Her memory will be a blessing.
My uncle Warren Felder. We remember those who've been taken from us within this year. Marilyn Graben, Alan Feigen, Jonah Anschel, Sharon Lowenbrown, Sheila Bamberger, Dr. Grace Deutsch, Clarissa Glotzer, Stephen Bornstein, Richard Kennemer, Ethel Schenker, Varda Satchi, Rabbi Tlalit Shavit, Jack Long, Virginia Larson, Miriam Moore, Bob Sturman, Lenora Wang, Adam Richard Spilka, Shlomo Isips, Howard Levine, Barbara Lombard, Claire London, Drago Herman, Merle Greenwald, Samuel Grinwald, Anita Comula, Bryce Lyon, Edna Stone, Miriam Davis, Lauren Janovich, Janet Wall, Charlene Kilgore, Ezra Sati Tsatchi, Gideon Hoffer, Alvin Kramer Siegel, Velasha Vizhanovich, Galina Buturina, Karen Imbalzano, Lillian Berman, Robert Bruce Myers, Abraham Karras, Scott Safadi, Norman Green, Marilyn Silverman, Leslie Heinall, David Green, Jeannie Porish, Estelle Abrams, Spencer Caney, Arthur Cherdak, John Ivers, Marilyn Handelman, Kay Dameron, Nira Marome, Andrea Feruzin, Rosella Newton, Linda Sherry, and those who died at this season in years past: Anna Gelber, David Frankel, David Katz, Herb Brunner, Leo Keene, Lucille Steinberg, Mildred Heisman, Sally Kahn, Samuel Greenberg, Selda Rotholder Kula, Warren Felder, Zoltan Vaina. And now you can support our community by standing or sitting, joining us with your voices or your hearts for Kaddish Avilim, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen.
יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
Amen. May the memories of your beloved ones be always a blessing in your life. Yes, Ichram Baruch. You may be seated.
It's my pleasure to invite up Molly to share some announcements. Announcements and then Kiddush, right? Or did I just?
That's okay.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
If you want the
Shabbat
high
shalom.
one, you need to use cantors.
Here.
You can use mine, but it's very low.
This is my first time doing this. I'm a little nervous, I have to be honest. But I wanted to say it's wonderful seeing all of you, and every time I come to Shabbat services and I come into the parking lot, I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? There's so many cars. There's a special event I forgot about. Oh no. And comes to find out, no, there's no special event. We just have wonderful turnouts. So yay us, right? Isn't that great? Okay, here are some announcements for May 19th. Upcoming Saturday, May 20th at 9:30, Torah study, followed by 10:30 a.m. with our Shabbat morning service honoring Rabbi Schwartz. Everybody come out and support him. Followed by a Kiddush lunch. Please register on the website. And then on Sunday, we're going to be celebrating Rabbi PJ again, 9 a.m. to noon. We have Havorat cycling. Come cycle with our Shir Hadash cycling group. Details are on the website. At noon, celebrating Rabbi PJ with a party and falafel lunch, and you can register for the falafel online as well. I know because I did. Monday, May 22nd at 1 p.m., we have the Healthy Living for the Brain and Body by the Alzheimer's Association. Please register on the website. Wednesday, May 24th at noon, we have Prekei Vote Study Group. Thursday, May 25th at 6 p.m., we will have a Shavuot dinner followed by a 7 p.m. With our Shavuot Mavariv service and confirmation. And at 8:30, our Festival of Learning led by our confirmants.
Confirmants, yes.
Okay. And on Friday, May 26th, ECC and the offers are closed for the day. Finally, 5 p.m. Minha in Yitzhak service and we will dedicate new names on our memorial wall at 6:15 p.m. Shabbat services followed by a post-Shavuot dinner. Please register on our website for dinner. And you know, when I've been sitting where you all are sitting, I never remember it being that long. That seemed really, really long.
Do you want some real time feedback?
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
Mevorach.
shalom.
I do want to share three things that are not in the announcements, and I do want you to give my thank you, Molly. Thank you very, very much. And three things that are not mentioned. One is that tomorrow morning, as we celebrate Shabbat and we will honor Rabbi PJ, we will be introducing some of the work that our Kulanu school has been doing. We have piloted a program called Cousins Like Us with the leadership of Lior Ben-Ur, who is a local artist who has been working with our school for a couple of months already, and our children will be participating in the service quite a bit and singing wonderful melodies. Some of them will be new to all of us, so we'll be learning there and catching up to the best of our ability. We encourage you to do that with us. It will be a wonderful experience, and it will be also, I think, a demonstration of the wonderful work that Rabbi Picha has done for many years, and also in this last year in which he had brought this incredible program. Also, on Sunday afternoon, it's not in the announcements, and I think it's sold out, but Cantor has a Broadway concert.
That's Sunday.
Sunday afternoon.
Oh, I thought you said Saturday.
I might. So Sunday afternoon, so I don't know if there are going to be videos or not, but I encourage those that will be there to take short videos. She has been preparing like I don't know, Rocky Balboa, like going and back. So much preparation into that wonderful concert, and I, unfortunately, won't have the chance to be there because I will be in the demonstration in Redwood City, accompanying member of the Knesset, Gilad Kariv, who will be, Gilad Kariv is a very important member of the Israeli parliament. Right now is one of the most important voices against this judicial overhaul. And he's also the first Reformed rabbi to be a member of the Knesset. He'll be speaking there. I'll say a few words also, but the important thing is that he will be speaking, and it's a great opportunity to hear him. So if for some reason you don't have a ticket to go to Cantor's concert, then we hope that you go and demonstrate. Remember, numbers matter. And when the American Jewish community show up to say, we want to see a different state of Israel or support some of the most important voices in the worldwide Jewry that is fighting with their bodies, their families, and all what they have to protect the integrity of the state of Israel, it's important to say, we are behind you. We are standing with you. So remember that. So shall we do Kiddush?
Yes, you shall.
I'll do Kiddush. You can find Kiddush on page 122, I think.
Yes.
Please rise. ויחולו השמיים בארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, thank you, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. And I will say, סברי חבריי וחברותיי, and you'll say לחיים.
לחיים.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
לחיים.
And we make sure that we conclude our service in this time of joint prayer, sharing blessings with each other. I'd like to invite you, if your family is here next to you, your beloved friends are here next to you, to stand next to them. And if you are on your own, make sure that you don't stand alone. Own it, say it's mine, and make sure that you make friends with someone. Make eye contact. If I see you alone, I call you to come with me. I know all your names. So make sure that you stand with someone. Stand with someone. Adopt a fellow congregant. Adopt a friend. Adopt a cantor, come on. So we make sure that we share blessings with each other as we recognize that in Shabbat, God acknowledged its creation, celebrated its creation, and so we acknowledge our creations, celebrate our creations. We celebrate the creations, the relationships that we are creating. We celebrate love. We think of the loving hands of our parents and our grandparents. We think of our children, whether they're here or not. As we say, may God inspire you to be like the loving parents of Israel. ישמכם אלוהים כאפרים וכמנשה. ישמכן אלוהים כשרה, רבקה, רחל, בלאה. And we say to all of them, to all of you, יברככם אדוני
וישמרכם. May God bless you and protect you. יאר אדוני פניו אליכם ויחונקם. May God's light shine upon you and may God be gracious to you. יישא אדוני פניו אליכם. May God's presence be within you always. And may you have the ability, the clarity in the middle of sometimes our chaotic lives to say it's mine, to say this journey, this life, it's mine, and own it, and take it. And may you find the wholeness of spirit to do that. May God grant you that gift, the gift of shalom. וישם לכם shalom. Adonai os le'amav item. May God bless its peoples with the ability, with the courage, with the strength to be makers of peace. Adonai yevarech et amo bashalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. מבורך אליי. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם.
בטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב
על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. Good Shabbos everybody, good Shabbos. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbos cantor.
Shabbat shalom, יישר כוח.
Shabbat shalom to you, יישר כוח to you.